When I heard this, I had that mix of excitement and anxiety that only being a Dolphins fan can give you. You know that feeling, right? Like something big is brewing, something that could either stabilize this team or complicate everything even more. Because here's the reality. The quarterback situation behind our starter is not just a nice to have. It's the difference between surviving a tough stretch or watching a season fall apart. And something just surfaced that changes the entire conversation about how Miami might handle this. There's a name floating around that makes a lot of sense, but there's also another name, a veteran, that could completely shift the strategy if things don't go as planned. And trust me, this isn't just speculation. This came from someone plugged in. Before we get into it, if you're a real Dolphins fan who rides through every rumor, every cap move, every offseason twist like this, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to Dolphins Nation Report. This channel is brand new and we're pushing for our first 300 subscribers. If you live and breathe Dolphins football like I do, this is the spot for you. Now let's talk about what's really going on here. Alright, so here's where things get really interesting. We already knew the Dolphins are on the quarterback hunt. That part isn't a secret. And for weeks now, there have been a lot of dots connecting Miami to Malik Willis. The soon-to-be free agent spent the last 2 seasons with the Green Bay Packers, and he's quietly developed into one of the more intriguing young quarterbacks in the league. And let's be honest, the connections make sense. You've got former Packers executive John Eric Sullivan now helping lead things in Miami. You've got former Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley here too. There's familiarity. There's inside knowledge. They know exactly who Malik Willis is, what he's capable of, how he's grown. So if the Dolphins pursue Willis in free agency, nobody should be surprised. But here's the problem: money. According to NFL Network insider Cameron Wolfe speaking on the Insiders, Willis could command over $20 million per year, 20+ million, for a backup or bridge-type quarterback. And Wolfe didn't sugarcoat it. He basically asked the big question, can Miami even afford that? We all know this team's cap situation isn't exactly comfortable. It's precarious, tight. Every dollar matters. We've already seen how aggressive this front office has been trying to keep the core intact while still managing contracts. And here's the scary part. There aren't many quarterback options on the market. There aren't a ton of options in the 2026 NFL draft either. And there are multiple teams that need quarterbacks. That's how bidding wars start. That's how a $15 million guy becomes a $22 million guy overnight. So if Willis's price skyrockets, Miami might have to pivot, and that's where the backup plan comes in. Cameron Wolfe mentioned another name to keep an eye on, Jimmy Garoppolo. Now I know. Some of you just rolled your eyes. Others are thinking, actually, that might make sense. Garoppolo is 34 years old. He's not the flashy young upside play that Willis represents, but he brings something different: experience. A lot of it. He started his career as Tom Brady's backup with the New England Patriots. Then he became one of the hottest trade targets in the league and landed with the San Francisco 49ers, where he signed that massive 5-year, $137.5 million extension. At one point, Jimmy G was that guy teams were chasing. But injuries changed the story in San Francisco. He couldn't stay consistently healthy. The 49ers eventually started looking elsewhere. They drafted Trey Lance. Then Brock Purdy emerged. And even though Garoppolo played out his full contract, the writing was on the wall by the end. Here's the part that makes this connection real, though: Bobby Slowik. Garoppolo worked closely with Slowik during his time in San Francisco from 2019 to 2022, when Slowik was an offensive assistant there. That familiarity matters, especially if Miami's offensive structure values timing, rhythm, and system knowledge. Since leaving San Francisco, Garoppolo has spent time with the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Rams. He's been around. He's seen different systems. He's been in playoff games. Over 12 NFL seasons, he has a 43-21 record as a starter, 96 passing touchdowns, 52 interceptions. That's not elite, but it's experienced. It's steady. It's someone who understands how to manage an offense. Now here's the real question as fans. What do we actually need? If Miami is looking for upside and long-term potential, Malik Willis makes sense, even at a higher price tag. He's younger, he's intriguing, he could develop into something more. But if this is about having a steady, experienced insurance policy who already understands similar offensive concepts and won't destroy the cap, Jimmy Garoppolo becomes very logical. And that's the crossroads we're at. This front office has to balance cap flexibility, depth, and long-term planning. They can't just throw money around. Not with this roster. Not with the expectations we have. Because let's not pretend. This team is in a win-now window. The pressure is real. The Super Bowl conversation isn't some fantasy anymore. It's the expectation. And one injury at quarterback can derail everything. So whether it's paying over $20 million per year for Malik Willis, or pivoting to a potentially cheaper veteran option like Jimmy Garoppolo, this decision matters way more than people think. This isn't just about a backup. It's about protecting a championship window. And as a Dolphins fan, I just want them to get it right. No panic move. No overpay out of desperation. But also no cheap move that leaves us exposed. We've seen seasons slip away before. We can't afford that again. At the end of the day, this news tells us one thing. Miami is actively preparing for every scenario. They know the market could get crazy. They're watching the numbers. They're evaluating relationships. They're lining up Plan A and Plan B. And honestly, that gives me cautious optimism. Now I want to hear from you. If it comes down to it, are you paying $20+ million a year for Malik Willis? Or are you taking the experienced, possibly cheaper route with Jimmy Garoppolo? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button. It really helps more than you think. And if you're a Dolphins fan who wants real, honest opinions without the sugarcoating, subscribe to Dolphins Nation Report. We're a brand new channel, pushing toward our first 300 subscribers. If you want to be part of building something from the ground up for real Dolphins fans, this is the moment. Let's see what this front office does. Because this move could say a lot about how serious we are about chasing that Super Bowl.